So Ubisoft has been falling apart as of late. They've been trying to pretend that they're not falling apart, and people have been glazing them and saying, no, you're wrong, Fables, they're not falling apart, you're falling apart. Meanwhile, I'm getting the best numbers that I've ever gotten. And so is Ubisoft. But also, they're spending more money than they've ever spent, and they sold out to China, because they're doing so successful that they had to do that. 10 out of 10 company making 10 out of 10 games, am I right? Assassin's Creed Hexe, I think that's what it's called. Assassin's Creed Hexe delayed as they prepare to eliminate thousands of jobs. Of course.
What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And after the Ubisoft investor call this past week, everyone's attention was focused on the performance of Assassin's Creed Shadows and the performance of the stock
So successful!
value of Ubisoft, but lost in all the news is the fact that the company is still preparing to lay off a bunch of employees because of all of the piss-poor decision-making the company has made in the past few years.
I thought Assassin's Creed Shadows saved them.
You're fired! Everybody's f***ing fired!
From the moment Ubisoft announced their deal with Tencent, we knew that an epic bloodbath was on its way, and the earnings call where they had to announce how poorly they performed as a company was certainly not going to change that. Many have speculated that we would see multiple thousands of jobs being eliminated, and based on this headline right here, it would seem that they are gearing up for the bloodbath. Do you know how many employees they have to get rid of to save $110 million?
Yeah, that, and also they have to stop spending $200 million, $300 million on video games. They just can't do that anymore. Maybe not even $50 million. That might be too much.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Now, of course, we don't know the average salary of a
You know, I forgot about Star Wars Outlaws. It was even a thing. Massive, massive failure. They can't afford to have another failure. I think that's why they're freaking out right now. Is because the next one, they really can't afford for it to be as massive a failure as Star Wars Outlaws. Or Outlaw. Is it Outlaws or Outlaw? I don't know, I didn't play it.
Ubisoft employee specifically, but a quick Google search suggests that a game developer in France makes somewhere between 40 and 48,000 euros per year.
Yeah, I bet the suits make millions upon millions of dollars.
Obviously, more experienced developers will make more than that, but even if we assume the high end of the curve for the average cost of a Ubisoft employee, this headline here suggests that Ubisoft is still looking to trim something in the ballpark of 2,000 jobs in the semi-near future.
Yeah, maybe they're not going to release 9 Assassin's Creed games in the next few years. 6 years?
You've killed me!
You have done that yourself!
Meanwhile, Ubisoft has announced that pretty much all of their high-profile games have been delayed to 2026 and 2027, and the media is trying like hell.
And that means that everything that they had planned after that also got pushed back. Everything was pushed back. All 9 Assassin's Creed games and whatever else that they had coming out, like Far Cry games. What else do they make? Assassin's Creed Far Cry. I don't know. They did have Prince of Persia, but they canceled that. They axed that.
To spin this as a positive. As usual, they're trying to make it seem like Assassin's Creed Shadows was a massive success and that delaying it several months was some kind of a blueprint for future success, and now Ubisoft is copying that blueprint with all of their games. But let's...
Yeah, and they can't blame COVID anymore. That was like 4 or 5 years ago, man. Do better. You should be doing better by now. There are companies that are doing so much better right now. Just these corporate slop companies, they just like a disease has entered them that wasn't COVID. COVID just like let another disease come in, a mind virus of people who have an agenda but are also lazy at the same time.
Call it like it is. Delaying games is the last-ditch effort of the desperate, and for a company which recently traded a quarter of the value of anything that actually had value at Ubisoft for a $1 billion bailout from Tencent, Well, let's just say they likely need capital as fast as they can get it, so this delay of their games
I can see Tencent outright buying Ubisoft.
comes off as a desperate retreat from gamers who are after their ass for being so combative for the past few years.
Well, Ubisoft needs to be comfortable with me not buying their games. Well, they're already pretty comfortable with me not buying their games because I already don't. But I know more and more people who also aren't going to buy them and probably still going to play them. By other means. By sailing the high seas. I like Dr. Disaster. I like his vibe. I like his channel.
Alright me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. Audiobook of a dark fantasy novel I've written is currently available for members only, and there is also
Has it got Dr. Disaster doing the audiobook in this voice? Because I might get that.
a space pirate cartoon that I'm working on. The thing is, I realize it's important that we not just complain about what we don't like, alternatives must be provided. So, I humbly ask that you consider becoming a member of the channel for $5 per month. But, alright, let's talk about all the news that has been swirling around with regards to Ubisoft. First of all, as I said before, the company plans to cut costs by around $110 million over the next year or so. Now, for anyone out there who wants to suggest that these moves that we're about to look at from Ubisoft, if you want to suggest that these are power moves made by a company that is kicking ass, what you need to do is keep coming back to this headline right here. Do you see Saber Interactive looking to cut massive costs like this? Or Sandfall?
Yeah, it's like all the corporate slop companies that are cutting costs like this, and they're probably going to be using more and more AI.
Or Capcom? Hell no you don't. Those are
Yeah, Capcom is even a corporate company, it's just not corporate slop.
companies with games that have sold well relative to what they cost to make.
Capcom, don't get me wrong, used to be corporate slop, and it still kinda is, but at least they make mostly good games.
Ubisoft is not in that position, so keep this headline in mind as we read more about the moves that Ubisoft is making. But anyhow, as I was saying earlier, the mainstream media continues to act like they are Ubisoft's guardians, trying to spin the delays of their games into something positive. There were a ton of articles like this one here with headlines trying to make this sound like a positive. This one came from Eurogamer. It says, Ubisoft moving some of our biggest productions into 2026 and 2027.
They might have to do some Capcom-like things to build themselves up again. Like do a remastered collection of Far Cry 2, 3, and 4. Like with updated graphics, updated gameplay, all of that. You know, on the level of the Resident Evil remakes. People would eat that shit up.
After positive impact of Assassin's Creed Shadows delay. Or this one comes from MSN. It says, Ubisoft's delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows worked out so well, the company is pushing back some of its biggest hitters, potentially as far as March of 2028.
The sad thing is, I don't know if this is being facetious or not. Like, do they think that it's actually a good thing, or are they being facetious and this is a bad thing? I don't know, this is worded weird.
Or, look at this one from the outlet VG247. Assassin's Creed Shadows delay turned out well, so Ubisoft's bigwigs are pushing some of the biggest games it has in the works further down the road.
It did so well, they're gonna have to spend more time on it, so they can add things and make it bigger and better forever. If it came out as a 10 out of 10, you wouldn't have to add things to it. And people were telling me it's a 10 out of 10. People still tell me it's a 10 out of 10.
And then this one is my favorite here from PC Gamer. The Assassin's Creed Shadows delay worked out so well for Ubisoft, its CEO decided, hey, let's do a couple more for the road and save 100 million more euros while we're at it. Somehow, they managed to talk about both the delay in their games and the cutting of thousands of jobs, and they put a positive spin on both of them as if Ubisoft is thriving.
I think these people actually hate video games and they know exactly what they're doing. They're creating dissent in the gaming community where we hate these companies and they're doing it on purpose. They have to be. They have to be. There's no way they're glazing the company this hard when we can all see this is not what's going on. It's like they want these big companies to fail, or they see these big companies mean we can make articles that get big clicks, and they probably do get big clicks. And that's all it's for, is for clicks.
The people at these outlets are liars and hacks, but that headline seriously takes some kind of talent to create. That level of positive spin being spun out of something so negative is actually really difficult to do. It's incredible.
We're going to be looking back at all of this whenever Ubisoft is finally shut down, hopefully.
That these outlets make it sound like having to spend extra time,
or they get bought out, you know. That'd be crazy. That'd be a crazy thing to happen, right? Nobody'd see that coming.
actually fixing bugs in the games is a novel idea, when in actuality, we simply know that this is just novel for Ubisoft. If these were more accurate headlines, they wouldn't be talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, they'd be mentioning Star Wars Outlaws, because what Ubisoft learned last year is that if they keep on releasing super buggy games, especially at the price point that they have,
not just super buggy games, games that really just don't make sense. Because Assassin's Creed Shadows, a lot of times, without bugs, just does not make sense.
Ask for, people will crucify them and they will not buy this shit. Now, clearly, there are more reasons why their games aren't selling, but that seems to have been Ubisoft's main takeaway, that they had way too many bugs in Star Wars Outlaws. The video clips from that game right when it came out, those were epic as hell. People ripped into that bug-laden mess pretty badly, so Ubisoft very publicly made sure we knew they were delaying Shadows in order to clean it up. But let's be real here, the biggest goal of delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows multiple times was to get people to forget about all of the negative attention that the game and the company were getting. They were retreating from gamers, hoping we'd forget about them, but it didn't actually work out like they wanted. As we discussed the other day, they've only sold around 2.7 million copies of that title so far, which is awful considering the...
Whoa. Okay. How do we know that? How do we know those are the numbers? Or is that just the Steam numbers? Is that the total numbers? Because that would be insane. That makes sense if they were bragging about 4 million players. When 4 million players does not mean copies sold. I could see how it would be like 2.7 million actually sold.
Budget. The gambit is the same with all of these other games, which have not been named, mind you, but we can pretty much guarantee that it includes the next Assassin's Creed game, codenamed Assassin's Creed Hexe. It's the one where you're...
I don't understand why this is even an Assassin's Creed game. They should have called it something else. It's because of the IP. That's the only reason. Because they're making this one have like witchcraft and magic and stuff like that in it. Why not just make a spiritually alike game called something else, not Assassin's Creed? So ridiculous. It's all for money. They don't even care. Which is weird because they're losing so much money. It's like these suits, they don't play video games. They just think they know what they need to put in there to make it good. Good eye candy means good sales, right?
Gonna play as a witch during the time of the Salem witch trials, and they straight up introduce magic into the canon of the IP. It really sounds like shit. I'm sure it's going to be another feminist, girl boss, just disgusting game that most...
And it's gonna have purple and teal everywhere. Just like they all fucking do. I point it out every time. Like, they all use these same teal and purple colors. Oversaturated. Everywhere. Sky's gonna be purple. 100% sky's gonna be purple. There's gonna be like purple magic, purple tint to things. You're gonna see like teal outfits. Probably even teal skin like an Avowed.
Most of us aren't going to want to play. But that game was rumored to be coming out this year, but I wouldn't expect it now to come out until 2026 at the earliest. But one bit of interesting Ubisoft news that we are getting now is that Charlie Guillemot, the CEO's son, is coming back to Ubisoft. Now, you may not remember, but back in 2021, Jason Schreier, the journalist, started a cancellation of Charlie Guillemot because he used a raised fist symbol for a terrorist faction in Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, and the journalist class thought that looked really bad for the commie movements that they're trying to push. So, Ubisoft bowed to the woke mob and removed the guy from the company, but he's back, which is, on one hand, a good sign, because even though I'm not a fan of the Guillemot family, I despise cancel culture and don't want people to lose their jobs because of the mob.
Yeah, this thing, it literally means nothing to me. Nothing's gonna change by this guy either being there or not being there.
That being said, it's funny that the company is preparing to axe thousands of low-level employees as they try to cut costs, but we can always make room for the boss's son.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna care. Activision did the same thing with Bobby Kotick. They fired him because he was problematic. And then while nobody was paying attention, they rehired him, and nobody cared.
It says a lot about them and the state of the industry, doesn't it? But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me.
Good video, Dr. Disaster. I almost called him Dr. Disrespect. I haven't heard of that guy in a long time. What is it? What's going on with that dude? I don't know. Ubisoft's cooked. I don't see him coming back from this. They might last 4 years, 5 years. But boy, we're gonna have a lot of content to talk about for years to come. Ubisoft either becomes a 10 out of 10 company or just goes down even further into the shitter. We'll have something to talk about. So let's go the possible failure or success of Ubisoft. I'll be here for it. I got t-shirts down there in the description. Check them out. Buy one. I'm out.